Well, they were something until Crawford fought him. So obviously he's doing a great job because he's making everybody look normal.
Apparently, no rehydration clause. Am I hearing that right? He wants full smoke that way.
So, man, that's what Crawford wants. He wants to show the world that he's the best. So, and why put stipulations in there when you know that you can be the best?
I can totally see Crawford outboxing Canelo. Like, making him look like taking him straight to school. But, again, I do not see Crawford snapping Canelo. I don't see him knocking him out. I don't see any of that. I do see Crawford taking him to 12.
As part of his mission to defeat Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford has brought in none other than Floyd Mayweather Jr. for sparring sessions, a move that speaks volumes about the seriousness of his approach. It's been confirmed that Mayweather is helping Crawford prepare for the defensive complexity and ring IQ that Canelo brings to the table. The connection is deeply symbolic. Mayweather was the first to decisively outclass Canelo back in 2013, and now, 12 years later, he's assisting Crawford in scripting what could be the final chapter in the Mexican superstar's reign. According to Crawford's camp, this partnership will force Crawford to sharpen his timing, adapt on the fly, tighten his footwork, and revisit the kind of ring generalship required to face someone who has been walking through bigger men at 168 pounds.
Along my career, been criticized. People have taken credit away from me just to try to diminish my accomplishments. It's on pure hate. So, what would they be able to say with me going up 2 weight classes? Canelo, become undisputed again. Not beat Canelo. What could they say?
Crawford's camp is a blend of science and intensity. He's already begun high-level sparring not only with Floyd Mayweather, but also with Lester Martinez, the undefeated knockout artist from Guatemala. Martinez, a full-bodied super middleweight with real power, serves as a clear proxy for Canelo's size and strength. Crawford's team isn't leaving anything to chance. They've brought in partners who can push him, partners who throw with the kind of explosive volume Crawford rarely faced at welterweight. It's all part of a larger plan, to simulate everything Canelo might bring: power, pressure, timing, and relentless bodywork, and then figure out how to solve it.
Fighter, facing him out, he's actually the taller man. So I'm leaning towards Crawford now. I switched my opinion. I think Canelo looks too slow, too flat-footed. One punch at a time. I don't think that's going to be enough for him to beat Crawford. Crawford's too fast, too strong.
In the limited training footage Crawford has allowed the public to see, he looks sharp, throwing crisp jabs, varying his combinations, and switching stances with fluidity. What's striking, however, is the noticeable increase in his bulk. For a man who spent much of his career at 147 pounds and is now pushing toward 168, the added mass is hard to ignore. To some, it's a red flag. Will he be slower? Has he traded speed for strength?
Canelo Alvarez. Alvarez.
I just got to beat him. I'm not going in there looking at knock Canelo out. Yes, absolutely. When I look at Canelo, he's a smaller and bigger guy moving up in division. These big guys are forward. They might catch him with something, but he might keep him.
Others argue it's a smart adaptation. Crawford is maintaining his signature sharpness, while building the frame needed to absorb Canelo's thudding shots. Social media reactions were predictably divided. Some fans marveled at how clean and fluid Crawford still looked at the heavier weight, with one commenting, "Sharp as hell." He went up in weight, gained more power, and maintained his speed. But others weren't convinced, expressing concern that the added muscle might slow him down or sap the explosiveness that has made him arguably the pound-for-pound best fighter.
And I started sizing him up, and I'm like, all right, well, Canelo fights, arms longer. He's strong, I'm strong, and to me, skill for skill, right? Canelo not the biggest 168. So, I just started looking into what's going
The
on.
transition to a bigger weight class isn't just physical, it's psychological. And Crawford, ever the technician, seems completely unfazed by the magnitude of the leap. "I'm the type of guy who likes to feel my fighters out and adjust to what they're doing," he explained when asked about the weight jump. "I think that's my greatest attribute, to be able to figure out every opponent I've faced thus far." That mindset, that confidence in his adaptability, has become Crawford's defining trait. He doesn't blow through opponents with sheer force. He breaks them down. He analyzes in real time, then dismantles them piece by piece. Against Canelo, a fighter who's made a career out of walking down opponents, Crawford's goal will be to disrupt the rhythm, pivot off angles, and smother Canelo's forward momentum.
And then you get to see Canelo and see if he's able to maintain the 168-pound division. You know, he's been there for quite some time, and we've seen Canelo go up to 75 to fight Bivol. It didn't look too well for him, you know, but we'll see. I think it's a great matchup. Obviously, Canelo has to do his part in winning, collecting another belt, become undisputed once again in that weight class against William Cole. So it's a great matchup. I think that it's definitely eye-pleasing for the crowd.
And there's more to this than just training. The stakes are enormous, not only for Crawford, but for the entire sport of boxing. Turki Alalshik, the Saudi advisor behind many of boxing's recent mega events, described the upcoming showdown as the biggest fight in boxing in history in the last 10 years or maybe more. He's not exaggerating. This isn't just a title fight. It's a pound-for-pound decider, a legacy-cementing moment for two of the sport's most dominant figures. Alalshik made the announcement with pride, thanking not only the fighters, but also Netflix, TKO, Nick Khan, and the entire machinery that made this event possible. Crawford versus Canelo is being marketed as the one, and it carries every bit of that weight. The branding deliberately echoes Canelo's 2013 clash with Floyd Mayweather, only this time, Canelo is the elder statesman defending his throne, and Crawford is the one looking to carve his name into the annals of
to
greatness.
help him? For Canelo, would you? For Canelo, would you? Если Canelo тебя попросит помочь в спаррингах, ты согласишься?
Yes. Yeah, because I needed more practice for my next fight. If he tell me, no problem.
Do you think Terence can beat Canelo?
If 12 rounds, maybe yes.
The entire production is designed as a global spectacle. Netflix will stream the bout, making it accessible to its 300 million subscribers worldwide. The move to a streaming platform, especially after Netflix's massive success with Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson, signals a shift in how boxing's biggest nights are packaged and delivered. That fight drew 108 million viewers for the main event alone. Crawford versus Canelo, with its far higher stakes and broader appeal, could very well surpass that number, drawing in casual fans, diehards, and international viewers alike. The three-city press tour, kicking off June 20th in Riyadh, then moving to New York and Las Vegas, follows the promotional blueprint of old-school blockbusters, with each stop designed to escalate the hype and generate
Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford has a venue and has a streaming platform. The fight will be in Las Vegas, and Netflix will be streaming this fight. Now, I have high hopes for Netflix because, like we saw, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, a lot of buffering. I don't think Netflix will make that same mistake again because this is the biggest fight in boxing since Pacquiao and Mayweather. And if Netflix can provide no lagginess, no buffering throughout the whole event, Netflix is going to be very respectable.
And Canelo? He's not treating this like just another title defense. This is his era, his weight class, his house. After resecuring the IBF belt by defeating William Skull in Saudi Arabia, Canelo now holds all 4 major titles at 168 pounds. Crawford was ringside that night, watching intently, and the tension between the two was palpable, even before the post-fight face-off. Canelo wasted no time reminding both fans and Crawford of what he believes is the pecking order. "He's a great fighter," Canelo said, "but he's not Canelo. On September 13th in Las Vegas, I remind the world who runs this era." There's confidence in his voice, but also a warning. Crawford isn't coming up to 168 just to be competitive. He's coming to take over, and Canelo knows it.
Do you think it adds to your legacy? The fight?
Yeah, like he's a really good fighter. 2 times undisputed champion. He's accomplished so much. So can add a lot to my.
This fight also marks the global debut of Zuffa Boxing, Dana White's long-rumored entry into the sweet science. White's involvement, combined with the Saudi promotional machine and Netflix's global streaming power, makes this one of the most layered and commercially aggressive boxing events in recent memory. It's not just about who wins inside the ring. It's about who will help shape the future of the sport. And while the business stakes are massive, the physical stakes are just as real. The size difference between Crawford and Canelo.
Ever. This is one of the biggest fights ever. And obviously I'm honored to be promoting. But yes, when they say we're promoting it, I'm doing the promotion, we're doing the production, the event ops, PR, I mean everything to do with the fight, just like a UFC fight, while at the same time promoting UFC Noche. So it'll all be the same weekend. It's a badass weekend of fights.
Crawford is moving up 14 pounds from his last fight, a win over Israel Madrimov. And for a fighter who spent years perfecting his craft at 147, that's no small leap. While he's recently tested the waters at 154, 168 is Canelo's backyard, a Iowa division where he's dismantled naturally bigger men like Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders. The challenge Crawford faces is multidimensional. He has to match the physicality without sacrificing precision, absorb the punishing body shots without becoming static, and execute his game plan without allowing Canelo to dictate the pace.
A good little man has never beaten a good big man in the history of the game. Unless you go back to certain situations with Pacquiao beat me, but I was a dead man walking anyway. But a good little man never beats a good big man, so it's a tough test for Crawford, but I'm not counting him out. The bottom line, this is the truth again, the money grab.
Crawford's strength lies in his adaptability. He doesn't enter the ring with a rigid blueprint. He studies, absorbs, and adjusts. "We're going to see come fight time what my advantage is," he said. That's not a vague answer. It's a window into how he fights. He never shows his full hand until the moment is right. That's how he dismantled Errol Spence. That's how he neutralized Sean Porter. And that's likely the mindset he's bringing into the Canelo fight. Not trying to win all 12 rounds, but waiting for the moment when he sees what no one else sees.
Give Canelo a real problem. I think early on you could see, he's a mover and he's obviously a very good boxer. I think to start with, when he's throwing his jab, it was falling short. They weren't emphatic punches. And I think as it slowed down, it was then connecting. He was catching it. It makes that Crawford fight, I think, more an intriguing fight. I always say a good big and a good little one. And he's got to give a lot of weight away, Crawford, but he could give Canelo a real problem now because Canelo was getting caught.
Watching that, do you think Crawford might be